This lecture will be called All About Japan. The things we talk about in this lecture may be assessed in an assessment task at the end of term or in your final examination. So it is important that you listen carefully, that you watch as well as listen, and that you try to think about ways that you can remember these facts. So take out your notebooks, write the heading All About Japan, and it is important that you try to keep your notebooks nice and tidy so that when you come back to do some revision that you can read them. Also when I collect them that I can read them as well. So after you've written the heading All About Japan, we're going to listen to some facts about Japan, and you can take notes along the way. Now you don't have to copy every word I say. In fact, I'd prefer if you didn't. What I'd like you to do here is to take some bullet points, and when you hear something that's interesting, jot it down. By the end of the lecture, you should have 10 to 15 important facts about Japan that you can look back on and revise when it comes time to do a test. Of course, you can always come back and listen to the lectures again. Japan is a group of islands in East Asia. So you can see on the map here that it's just to the right of Russia, North Korea and South Korea. And you've got the Sea of Japan that separates them, and then Japan sits out in the Pacific Ocean. There are about 6,000 or 7,000 islands in Japan that make up the total islands. Not all of them have people live on them. About only 430 of them have islands that people live on them, and the others are uninhabited. But there are 4 main islands that are often spoken about in when you look at Japan. So you can see up the top there, there's the main island of Hokkaido, and it's right up the top near Russia. Now remembering that Japan is in the northern hemisphere, so the further away from the equator that you go, the colder it gets. So it's quite cold up there in Hokkaido. Then we've got this big island that looks almost like a shoe, and it goes all the way around, and that island is called Honshu. That's where Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka and all those places are, on that main island there. The other main island of Japan is down a little bit further. You can see there's a little one down below Osaka. That one's called Shikoku. And then right down the bottom there, we've got an island called Kyushu. So Kyushu is getting a little bit closer towards Australia, a little bit closer towards the equator, and again, because it's getting closer to the equator, it's going to be warmer there. So you've got really cold temperatures up north in Hokkaido, down to quite tropical as you go further south. Most of Japan, in fact more than half of Japan, is mountainous and forests. So it's really difficult to live in, which means that most of the people go and live in the cities, in the main cities. Japan's highest mountain is Mount Fuji, which is 3,776 meters high. So it's not the highest mountain in the world. You can climb it if it's summer. It's covered in snow in the winter, but you can climb it in the summer, and it's really pretty. Because it's in the middle of that main island of Honshu, oftentimes you'll see it in lots and lots of Japanese films and movies. You can see it from lots of different places in Japan. You can see it from if it's a nice sunny day, you can even see it from Tokyo. Japan is really thin. You can see that Um, it's long country, but it's quite thin. At no point is the ocean more than 150 kilometers away. So even if you're right in the middle of Japan, you've only got 150 kilometres to go to the sea. So it's very different to Australia, where we have lots and lots of desert and things like that. It has a really big population, Japan. So there's about 125 million people live in Japan. And remember that only half of the country is it's habitable, so all those people squeezed into lots and lots of cities mean that the cities are packed full of people, and the countryside is usually quite nice to go and visit as well. It does snow in Japan. In fact, in Hokkaido it snows. They have very, very long cold winters and cool summers. They don't have a lot of rain, they have a lot of